Yeah, I want to explain something at anything time I recommend or, just kind of point out some alternative medicine. First off, alternative medicine is kind of like a misnomer. A lot of times it's ancient medicine. Or if it was discovered lately, it was actually found by conventional doctors. And I know the conspiracy theories about money and all that type of stuff, right? Why cure a patient when you can have them hooked on drugs forever, right? Be a drug dealer. I mean, that's the theory behind it. But let me put it this way: anything I say really don't stop you from doing any conventional medicine, and anything I say is cheap. Nothing costs big bucks, and I ain't making no money off it, and I ain't freaking selling none of it. It's a lot of stuff I do myself. I think it's a smart idea. Now, I mentioned about a lot of these herbs, cat's claw, which is listed twice, but erroneously, but kind of made a quick list here. Actually, this list could be longer. Astragalus, bee propolis. This stuff might be cool. It's stuff from the bees. Supposedly, clobbers, all kinds of stuff. Echinacea, you all heard of. Golden seal root, green tea. Dandelion root, a lot of people haven't heard of, but American Indians all know about it. It's all over the place, all throughout cultures. Dandelion root's a big time antiviral. Milk thistle, I pointed out, very important in Europe and everything. They know about this. This stuff is like ancient medicine, really. In a lot of different cultures. It's not snake oil. They could, the conventional people can put it down, but hey, all I'm saying is, if you take this stuff, it ain't gonna hurt your conventional medicines. You can check it out with your doctor, but I mean, this type of stuff don't screw nothing up. Then I want to point out something else. I was talking about this blood electrification thing with the Beck protocol. That's one reason I like these ones down that Mike makes. Dragonfly 75 Bioelectric, actually, it's called. Now, he's not making any claims. It's just made in accordance with the way Dr. Beck, PhD, the physicist, said to make it, which was according to the patents by Dr. Lyman and Colley in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Just got to repeat that stuff. But the thing is, with Mike's device, he always has them he'll have them 4 hertz, 10 hertz, and 40 hertz. And I was saying about the original setting was 4 hertz, and you can have that problem with transfection. If you're taking herbs or medicines, it seems like you're taking more, so you don't. That's why Dr. Beck, he had it where you don't use this thing. See, it popped off, so the light went off, right? I didn't have it on here good. But Dr. Beck had it where, you couldn't use any conventional treatments while you're doing his protocol. Well, if you're using the 10 hertz, or especially the 40 hertz, no problem with transfection. So it ain't going to stop you from doing anything. Really, any conventional, like if your doctor gives you medicines and stuff, you're not going to have to worry about transfections. It's not going to stop anything the doctor's going to tell you to do at all. And and this is so low of a current. Now, for the people that think it's bullshit, I mean, I'm not telling you it's going to work. I know it conforms. I think it does work. Let me put it that way. But this isn't really expensive. These things are, depends on what it is. I mean, they're a couple $100. Basically that's what they are. It's not like, some of these things that people sell for thousands of dollars. So, and then you can build them yourself, but I don't know how to build one with the 40 hertz. But you can build the ones yourself even, There's plans out on the internet how to do this. But even so, if you build one yourself and you set it on 4 hertz, you just make sure you use this not during the time you're going to be taking herbs and stuff like that, Make sure it's outside that window by several hours. You should be alright then anyway. But anything I say is really nothing it doesn't stop you from doing any conventional medicine. Like, for instance, I could tell you a doctor, and this was just a few months ago, and the patient, she was on chemotherapy, which I personally think is a bunch of bullshit. But that's just my layman's opinion, And I don't sell nothing alternative anyway, but I just think chemo is a bunch of bullshit. Man, if chemo was alternative medicine, it would have slammed every freaking person gave it to them already. But, hey, it makes money. That's how I look at it. But anyway, the conventional doctor, she said, take some bacon. She recommended for the patient for her to take some baking soda too. You know, which like is the whole thing with Tullio C. Mancini. Cancer is basically like acidic. Baking soda is very alkaline. Well, it was a regular doctor, but she didn't stop the chemo. But you know, that's the other thing I point out. If you're going to take this baking soda and molasses, in the baking soda or whatever, and maple syrup combination, that don't stop you from doing any conventional treatments. Not at all. It's like the most harmless thing in the world. Like here, I got some of this chlorine dioxide stuff. I just made it the regular way. Hey, if I had to take a medicine or something, I could still take this junk. Now, I know sometimes people will say, you know, I seen this though. This is kind of like, holy shit, but they had people talking about cancer and, you know, the conventional medicine, and they start saying some studies say that vitamins may interfere with chemo drugs. I'm thinking to myself, that's almost like saying nutrients in food will interfere with chemo drugs. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, holy shit. You know, when it's going that far, I'm thinking to myself, no way, buddy. Because, you know, actually, if you look at some of the bullshit that's out there by the United Nations, basically they call like all vitamins controlled substances and everything else. Every nutrient out there is like a controlled toxic substance. I don't want to get into that shit, but there's some really wacky literature out there in United Nations documents that says this. So if you give them an inch, they take 10 miles. But I'm just going to say that anything I say, pretty much, it don't stop you from doing anything conventional. I mean, if your doctor says, you know, you got to take this medicine, do this chemo, do this radiation, or whatever, it ain't going to stop, you know. I mean, if you take some baking soda and molasses, then, you know, if you take a little bit of chlorine dioxide for a virus or some shit, or you try some Zappin, you know, it's not going to stop you from doing the conventional stuff. And you know, like I said, Mike's the only one that makes this one. Like sometimes he has some devices that have just 4 and 40 hertz. 40 hertz, no trance or transfection. So if you got to take medicines or take some herbs or any medicines the doctor says, it ain't gonna hurt. It won't hurt you to do this, too. No problem. So, you know, just want to point that out because, like, you know, I think alternative, if it's your only choice, and see there's no doctors around or you can't afford a doctor, alternative might be, well, that's your only shot, right? That's the only shot you got, right? But, you know, if you got access to all kinds of medical treatments and stuff like I do, you know, I mean, somebody told me I could take medicines or something like that or whatever, I got to get zapped with a laser to get a tumor, you know, it won't stop you from doing anything else that's alternative, quote unquote. So that's one way I want you to look at it. But if you got absolutely no choice, you know, alternative's your only shot. And the only thing I put out here is the cheapest stuff going, man. Nothing that breaks the bank. Because I'm always looking at what's the most bang for the buck. That's how I look at things. So, you know, I totally hate alternative when they say you need a thousands of dollars bullshit machine to do something. Or, you know, this bottle of pills that cost you $200 is going to cure this. Those guys, they ought to be shut down. Because basically, it should be cheap. And, you know, stuff that comes from plants usually is, right? And, you know, this thing actually developed in a college of, was it Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York City. This thing, I think, was pretty smart. I mean, they didn't actually have this device on the outside of the body. Dr. Beck figured out how to do that. They used to have like it implanted in the body with a little battery, like using a heart defibrillator or something, and that would do the pulsing. And then every month or so, they'd have to do a $5,000 operation and move it somewhere else because the vein got messed up. But doing it this way, you don't have any problem, you know, with that kind of stuff. So this is cheap. It's like, this little mini one was cool because I think this was even cheaper. So, and you got the 40 hertz setting on it. So, just want to point out, you know, anything I put out here is not really for instead of conventional medicine. You know, it could be in addition to it. that's well, it could be. You don't have to do it. And if you got no choice, you got no conventional medicine available, I don't know. Anything I say is about it definitely ain't gonna break the bank. That's for sure. So, trying to give you the cheapest methods possible that should be the most effective. And a lot of times, I got the most faith in the ancients. Like, if people have been doing something in all these different cultures for thousands of years, like, you look at this bee propolis, I bet you that stuff is pretty good in a lot of ways. And, we all know about dandelion roots been around all over the place, too. A lot of these things have been around. And, you know about all of them, probably. So anything I recommend is dirt cheap. But it don't mean you don't take conventional medicine if the doctor tells you to take conventional medicine. I mean, hey, you can do both. You should be able to do both. You might want to check it out with the supposed expert, because, I don't know, I don't have too much faith in doctors, to tell you the truth. They're supposed to be the experts, though, but you want to check it out with them. More than likely to tell you, Walmart sells echinacea golden seal root combination left and right. It's all over the shelves, right? So, it's pretty safe stuff. But like anything, you don't take too much anything. That's another golden rule.